Hey guys, Mr. Riz here to help you out on Chapter 8 in Algebra 2. So let's get this started. What we're going to do first is we're going to review factoring before we really get into rational functions. We want to make sure we have factoring down pat before we jump into a fraction and reducing it, because factoring is going to be kind of the first step. So if you remember, there was kind of like 4 different types of factors that we had to go through and figure out. First one you guys learned probably way back in Algebra 1, and then we reviewed it this year, was, excuse me, GCF factoring, so greatest common factoring. Typically, you might see just like 2 binomials, but what you want to do is to see, okay, do these 2 binomials have anything in common? All right, then we will look here. Let's see, 4x squared and negative 8x. Okay, we could divide both of these numbers by 4, and both of these have an x. Okay, so this part here, 4x, is known as the GCF, the greatest common factor between the terms. And then we put a parentheses, and then we're going to divide each term by the GCF. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. Now, technically, you probably could put a 1 here, or you could leave it blank, but we had x squared divided by x. Basically, we're taking away an x. So the first term turns to 1x. The minus sign stays the minus sign in the middle. And then we take the next term, 8 divided by 4 is 2. We had an x, got rid of an x, it's gone away. And so there's the GCF factor. Excuse me. All right, next, we went over, riddle factors. Basically, riddle factors, we're looking to see what 2 numbers multiply together to get the last number, negative 10. Add together, you know what I have? Add together to get the middle number, negative 3. All right, and so we think about it here to get a negative 10, add together to get negative 3, that'd be a negative 5 and a positive 2. And so we would actually use those answers to set up our solution here. It'd be x minus 5 for the negative 5 and x plus 2 for the positive 2. And if we were to FOIL this out, look at that. All right. The other ones we learned was the simplify and slide technique. Now, you will notice those because they have a number in front of the a, or a number in front of the x term. The a term is more than 1. All right, so we're still going to do the x here. All right, we're still going to try to figure out what number adds up to get 11, but we are going to multiply 2 times 12. And so 2 times 12 is 24. 2 times 12. All righty. We did the outside numbers together. So we got to think of that magic combination. Okay, what can multiply together to get 24, add together to get 11? All right, I believe that would be 8 and 3, right? 8 times 3 is 24. 8 plus 3 is 11. All right, so normally we would just do 8x plus 8, x plus 3. But then we need to go ahead and divide each thing by the number in front. Divide by 2. Now, if the term divides, we simplify. So we'd go through 8 does divide by 2. We divide it, so we get x plus 4. Now, 3 does not divide by 2. It comes out to be a decimal. We simplify it, which it doesn't, and slide it on over. So we get a 2x plus 3. And lastly, difference of squares. Difference of squares had to be in a numbers that we can take the square root both of. So we can take the square root of 16. We can take the square root of 49. This is the only way that this works. If this number was 50, this wouldn't work because we can't take the square root of 50. We can't take the square root of 73. It's got to be numbers that we can take the square root of. What we are going to do then is to just basically take the square root, but we're going to get 1 positive and 1 negative answer. All right, so the positive one starts out, okay, what's the square root of 16? It's 4, and the square root of x squared is x. So we get a 4x plus something and a 4x minus something. And then we take the square root of 49 here, there's 7. Maybe if you need to write that in your notes here, the square root of 16x squared equals 4x. The square root of 49 equals 7. We're taking the square root of both those numbers. and we just put a plus or minus sign in the middle. All right, so hopefully this is reviewing. You guys remember something. We just haven't done it in a while. So let's see. I think I gotta rotate this a couple times. Okay, if you want to go ahead, pause the video. You can see we got a practice problem on each one. You guys are going to practice the ones, or we're going to practice together the ones on the left and the ones on the right, the even problems you guys are going to use on your edge elastic. So go ahead, pause this video. Go over that in just a second. All right, let's see if you got this correctly. So first one here is the GCF factor. All right, what's the biggest number we can divide 40 and 30 both by? We can divide those both by 10, and they both have an n in common. All righty, so 40 divided by 10 is 4, n squared divided by n is n. 30 divided by 10 is 3. If we had an n divided by n, it goes away. So here's our answer, 10n times 4n minus 3. All right, the next one, the riddle here. So you had to go through, figure out what two numbers multiply together to give you -10, add together to get -9. The wonderful combination that works is -10 and +1. So you should have an x minus 10 and an x plus 1. And remember, these can be in either order. So if you have x plus 1 times x minus 10, it's mathematically the same thing. All right, the GCF and then the riddle. Okay, so this one here, what you should have done, now you could have done the simplify and slide and got the same answer here, but what we should do here is look to see, is there a GCF between the three of them? Okay, we can divide every number by 3, and that's it, okay? Because not everything has an R. When we do that, we get 3 divided by 3 is 1, or we can just say r squared. 39 divided by 3 is 13. And then 90 divided by 3 is 30. Now that we have that, we're going to do the riddle. And we're going to just look at these numbers here. What can multiply together to give you 30, add together to get 13. And the combination that works there is 10 and 3. 10 times 3 is 13. 10 plus 3 is, or 10 times 3 is 30. 10 plus 3 is 13. So we can now set this up as 2 parentheses. Now keep in mind, we just keep that 3 hanging outside here. We got a 10, x plus, not x. It's r. Don't make the same mistake on your edge elastic. Use the same variable name. R plus 10 and r plus 3. All right, next one, simplify and divide. Okay, so we can't do the GCF here because there is not a number that all 3 of them have in common other than 1. So we do have to go through and multiply. 3 times 10 is 30. 17 is what we're going to add up to get. All right, so we try to go through, figure it out. That'd be 15 and 2. All right, so we would have an x plus 15 and an x plus 2, but we do need to take this one further step. We need to divide everything by 3. All right, 15 does divide by 3, so we will write that as 5 because 15 divided by 3 is 5. 2 does not divide by 3. It's a decimal, so you're going to slide it on over here. Make this a 3x plus 2. Keep in mind, you can have it in either order again. So you could have wrote 3x plus 2 times x plus 5. All right, one more problem for you guys to check out here. The difference of squares. Difference of squares, basically 2 rules. There's got to be a minus sign in the middle. And the other rule is that you need to be able to take the square root of both of those numbers here. We can do that. So that means our answer is going to be 1 plus 1 minus. We take the square root of the first number, 9. The square root of 9 is 3. And we also take the square root of n squared, which would be n. So we got a 3n plus something, 3n minus something. Now the second number here, we are going to take the square root of 1. The square root of 1 is 1. So this factors down to a 3n plus 1 times a 3n minus 1. All righty. That's pretty much it. We're going to go through, just practice factoring, make sure we get this down right before we move on. If you guys have any questions, of course, make sure you reach out and ask. If not, good luck on your edge elastic, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching.